everyone, welcome to the Movieception Show. My name is Fariba, and we're back for another episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That's a new Game of Thrones series, and so far, I mean, this is only the second episode, so we still have a long way to go, but after the premiere last week, I think I already gave my verdict that it seems really promising so far, given the fact that it is part of the Game of Thrones universe, and a lot of that is because of the fact that A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is a very refreshing series compared to what we've seen from Game of Thrones and House of a Dragon. Unlike the other two, where it's all about the wars, the fighting, battles between houses, this one's a little bit more local. It feels a little bit more fresh. We're not necessarily focusing too much on a household. I mean, technically, yes, because we still have Aegon Targaryen here, but you can tell that this one's a little bit more personal. We don't have too many perspectives. It's just based on the fact that we're following this really deep story between an upcoming knight and an upcoming king. And we're basically following their tale, right? And I think that's very different from what we've seen before, where we've had so many different characters kind of be the main cast, the main players, whereas this one's like it's just really two characters that we're following, but we're seeing how their relationship develops over time. Now, unlike Game of Thrones and House of Dragon, I think from what I've seen, the episodes moving forward, like from here on out, are not going to be like an hour episode. Last week was like barely like 40 minutes, or it was kind of hitting around like 42, 44, somewhere around there, but I believe today we're gonna see roughly an episode that's under 40 minutes. I think that's what I've seen, and I'll probably try and double check this once we get to the discussion or the post reaction, because again, this is not a show where we have so many different characters. We're just focusing on two characters. But from what we've seen so far, and as I said before, like I think one of the reasons why this show has already been promising is the fact that it is able to really sell on the fact that this is a very intriguing tale between a knight and a king who's secretly going as like a passenger of some sort. And of course, for the show to really work, you have to make sure that the main thing that it sells is the fact that you have the two key characters and the dynamic working out. And so far, as I said before last week, that I really loved how the dynamic shines right away. It's going to take a while. I mean, we're still seeing them kind of being strangers in a way, although now they're at a point where they're now the knight and the squire. But that being the case, I'm interested to see what's going to happen moving forward. We're only on episode 2, so without further ado, let's get right down into the second episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
But,
Stay there.
Oh. More bums.
Back.
he was a true knight. He had a peaceable nature
Oh, okay.
Quiet.
Oh, okay.
and humble. A veteran of 100 wars.
Why
but
does
an
this
enemy
keep
to none.
happening?
His skills as a warrior were...
So he substituted to like an injury then. Oh yeah, you can see how bad that's healing.
House Tyrell. Sir Erlen often spoke of his time in your service as
Tyrell.
very fine. He said it was you, my lord.
Was he a shit night?
It was not a shit night.
He can't have been a very good one if no one remembers him.
Pick
Oh,
up your
Lord.
feet. Come on.
He has a
This is
point.
undignified, sir. Dogs like they're your betters.
They are my betters. You're too brazen for your own good.
Ah, Targaryen. Oh, he's freaking out.
Perhaps I should go back, sir. Check on the camp. Make
Oh,
sure
now
it's
he
something
wants to go
nosing
back.
about.
There's something up. Something's
Aye.
up.
Great and honourable Baelor Targaryen, firstborn son of King Darren the Good, Prince of
Firstborn
Dragonstone,
son of King
and
Darren.
King
So we're like not
and
too long
heir
after
to
House
the
of
Iron
Dragon, huh?
Throne,
Oh!
and his brother, Mirka.
Ah. Knighthood has fallen on sad days.
Cocky Targaryen, I see.
You'll dame before the week is out, I'd wager.
Where are you from, man? You don't smell house bread.
Don't tell me this
No
guy
place,
knows his
I know it.
knight.
My family's from there. You're not a Darkling of Duskendale. We were crabbers of Duskendale. Far back as it goes.
Targaryen.
No.
Then would you move the fuck out of the way?
Yeah, of course. Apologies. Sorry.
Someone actually named themselves after Baelor.
The prince's sons are missing.
More concerned if it was
Prince's son is missing.
Probably dead.
No.
Started for less.
swear I'll see him dead.
He looks familiar.
You. Who are you? What do you mean by spying on us? Show yourself.
Oh, you're stupid. Oh.
Sir Daemon Lannister. The Grey Line. He's Lord of Casterly Rock now.
How can you possibly remember some fucking hedge knight who chanced to unhorse Daemon Lannister 16 years ago?
I make it practice
This is
to
so
learn while I
ironic.
can with my foot.
And why would you deign to joust with a hedge knight?
As many years passed at Storm's End.
I did not mean that the king should...
You wish to enter the lists, is that it?
Yes.
The decision rests with the master of the games, but I see no reason to deny you.
As you say, my lord.
So he's in.
Your Grace,
Very well, sir. You are grateful. Now, fuck off.
You must forgive my brother, sir.
I trust they will not be found dead.
Oh my god, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Those are not the greatest words to use.
Sir,
That was great. How'd you do the fire tricks? Oh,
Coming from a Targaryen.
Right for
4 puppets.
Yeah, puppets.
Egg is really good at this stuff.
Wait.
huh?
Yes, sorry.
So,
Everyone's always told me I was stupid.
and
Yeah, and
What?
are you still
what
stupid?
did you do when people said you were stupid, sir?
What business is that of yours? My problems are my own.
Yeah, I love how he's just
Aren't you trying to help me?
Help you what?
trying to give them
Bro?
motivation.
hedge knight. You.
Ah, it's the Lannister. I mean, Baratheon.
I need muscle. Will you heed my call to war? Good. Go!
Aww.
I'll be back.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Aww.
If I win, I'll come back and buy you again. I promise. You know the old man lived nigh on 60 years and was never
Oh.
a champion.
It's bugging my cider.
Red House might take me into its service. Perhaps even House Targaryen.
Foreshadow.
Are you supposed the Dragon House employs many hedge knights, sir? Of Duskendale.
Yep.
His father owns half the crabbing fleets in Westeros.
What? How would you know?
He would
I
know.
like fishing.
Lord have mercy, he is so big. Or tall. Oh, there's just literally the fish. Another Targaryen.
Who's that?
Prince Valar. Baelor's son.
Oh, he's getting the chills. Oh.
Noble lords can't even remember his name. His name was Sir Erlen of Pennytree. And I am his legacy. On the morrow, we will show them what his hand has wrought.
The second episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and so far again it's just keep being promising, right? Now of course I think it's worth mentioning that this was a very, very short episode. It was only like 32 minutes, so there wasn't really a whole lot that's going on, but we do get a lot more information. We're starting to learn a little bit more about people, some of the Targaryens of course, and we kind of get our first sense of the action. So I think just going into the second episode, like you can tell like this is gonna be an underdog story, and this is very clear. Like actually I remember like after the episode last week that I started to kind of come across a little bit more research about Ser Duncan and Aegon Targaryen, and one of the things I totally, forgot about was the fact that Ser Duncan was actually mentioned in the original Game of Thrones series. Like if you remember, there was like that one part where Joffrey's like looking through like the Knight's book or something, and he's looking through every knight who's served the king, and one of them happens to be Ser Duncan, the Tall, and he himself has 4 pages, right? I mean, he is someone that's really special to Aegon Targaryen in some way, some form. And now we're just seeing the humbling beginnings of that right here. And you can see just, again, how much... I think what this episode really shows is that, yes, he is craving to become a knight. I mean, he is the hedge knight. But... And not only does he desire to be a hedge knight, but also the fact that he does have an underdog story. But it's also a reflection of who he used to be a squire for. I mean, his knight, Sir Pennytree, right? Despite the fact that he was supposedly a knight, right? I think for a lot of us, we weren't even sure if he was a knight, right? I mean, a lot of people were even questioning whether or not he even was a knight. But for the fact that there is actually not just anybody who remembers him, but the fact that it happens to be a Targaryen, it's like, okay, well, it's clear that a lot of people forgot who this person was. This is a person who, yes, may have not been the greatest knight, right? I mean, as Duncan says here, I mean, he's someone who was very loyal, someone who really served the kingdom, and yet people just don't remember who he was. And now this gives him more of a motivation to not only just go into this tournament, but to make sure that he's able to continue his legacy in a way that just because he was kind of like a nobody doesn't mean that they should be underestimated. And I think this is becoming more and more understood that this is going to be a story about an underdog, and especially one where someone who's just who doesn't have that upbringing, right? Someone who has an upbringing that typically you would see with most knights, where they have a lot of money, where they have at least some kind of elitism, whether it be their household or something that they may have the wealth for, etc. That's not the case that we're seeing with Duncan, right? I mean, this is a guy who literally has nothing. He was just a squire for a knight that didn't really do a whole lot. He was kind of a rake in a way, and he was just traveling. He wasn't a well noticed knight, and yet we're seeing somebody who's just a common folk and who's about to rise to the top, right? I mean, that's what we're going to see the story of, and it's becoming very clear that this whole season's probably going to be focused primarily on the tournament, which I'm not totally against. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, each of the episodes that we've seen so far have been really short, and I think the rest of the episodes that we're going to have are going to be like right around the same runtime that we had today, where it's going to be like about 30 to 35 minutes. So they're not going to be long episodes, and that's probably because we're going to just slowly be diving into the fact that this is Ser Duncan that we're meeting. This is someone that we've never really seen before, someone who doesn't really have that strong household name. Like, we know who the Targaryens are, we know who the Baratheons are, we know who the Tyrells are, but we don't know this guy named Ser Duncan the Tall, who doesn't really have that wealthy name. Like, he's not even known to anyone. He's a nobody, right? And he's a nobody who's about to rise in a very big position very soon. So but that being the case, I think this is I think this episode really shows the motivation that basically what's going to motivate Ser Duncan to go into this tournament. I mean, for a while it's just a matter of, hey, he just wants to become a knight. just going to this tournament will at least give him a sense of knighthood and continue on that legacy, right? I mean, that's what he wanted, but now he has more of a purpose that, you know, it's not just a matter of becoming a knight, but now it's a matter of honoring someone like Sir Penetray, who wasn't really noticed, who wasn't really a noble knight to anyone, who wasn't really remembered that well. And I mean, we literally started the episode, you know, with Penetray, right? I mean, he just came out of nowhere. I mean, of course, that was quite the visual that to kind of like smack on my face, but you can tell how much Penetray meant to Ser Duncan. I think that's the take-home message of what this episode's trying to tell us. I mean, the last episode, we're just like, okay, we saw his knight die, and now he's just trying to become a knight by entering himself into a tournament. And now this episode gives us a reason for, like, gives us an idea of why he has this reason to go into this tournament now. Now he has a motivation. Now we understand why he has more of the desire to really rise to the top. And I mean, he is counting so many big households. I mean, he's talking to the Baratheon, he's talking to the Targaryens. I think that was a Tyrell in the beginning at some point. I think that was a Tyrell. These are all big names, right? And so it's just a matter of seeing how things are going to go moving forward, of course. But not only that, but we also have that other half of the story where Egg is still a mystery, right? I mean, I think for a lot of us, we do know who Egg is. Egg is Aegon Targaryen. He is a son that we now know has been missing. And I think we have a little bit of again, I'm still trying to process how the tree lineage is like. But if he is Darren, right? So that's, I believe, I believe that's Rhaenyra and Daemon's son, youngest son, that did survive, right? I think that's how it works. And so basically that's his kids, and so I think that's how it works. I mean, he's the firstborn son of Darren, so I'm assuming by then Darren probably has passed away, or he's probably really old. I'm assuming he already passed away, because now we have his son, who's like the king now. So now what we're seeing is his kids, part of some of his kids. I mean, Aegon is like the second generation after Darren. I think that's how it works. So yeah, it's like roughly like just about 90 years, 100 years after House of Targaryen. Again, dragons don't exist anymore, so we won't be seeing dragons, but we will be seeing Targaryens. So we still have Targaryens in the show, very, very much present. But yeah, I think, again, there isn't too much to process out of this episode. Yes, we got a little bit more of the action to kind of get the sense, to kind of get the preview of how this tournament's going to turn out to be. Now it's just a matter of seeing how it's going to flesh out, right? I think, again, so far I've liked the show. I mean, again, it's not the greatest thing I've seen. It's not comparable to Game of Thrones or House of Dragon, but also this is like apples to oranges, because this is a very different show tonally, because it's not like, oh, we're going to start into full-fledged battles, oh, we're going to see these really big characters who come from wealthy families. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with the guy who's literally a nobody in Westeros, someone who's like a common folk in Westeros, and now we're seeing his story and how he is evolving to kind of eventually become someone who's really big, someone who does make a name for himself, someone who does become memorable later on when we get to the events of Game of Thrones. So, and I think that's what makes this a really refreshing show. It's lighthearted. We still have some of the levity, we still have the comedy, and yet we still are trying to integrate a lot of the lore that we already know, or at least are familiar with, and seeing that kind of coming into play here in this show. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm gonna continue on watching the series. It looks really promising, of course. Again, it does seem as though this is just gonna primarily focus on a tournament, just because that's what it's starting to, it's like, I mean, I think there's like 6 episodes for this show, so there isn't a whole lot left. There's only like 4 episodes after tonight's episode, but also the show's already renewed for a season 2, so I'm going to assume that at some point along the line we're going to start transitioning from the tournament to kind of his rise into knighthood very soon. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about tonight's episode. There isn't really too much to dissect, but I want to know your thoughts so far. We're now in episode 2. Are you still going to tune into Night of the Seven Kingdoms? Are you liking how things are progressing so far? We got a little bit more of an idea of how some of the things I already know about the Game of Thrones lore is now being integrated here. We got a little bit of a sense of how the tree line works with the Targaryens, especially after House of Dragon, because this is the sequel to House of Dragon in a way. Not only that, but we got a little bit of a sense of who Pennytree is and how he has been influential to Ser Duncan. Now we have a little bit more of a purpose for Ser Duncan. Now he's going to the tournament. So what does this mean moving forward? And I just want to know your general thoughts so far. Like, are you loving this? Are you not liking it? What are some things that you think may kind of, that maybe the show needs to improve? Or are you really liking this fresh pacing, this fresh tone that we have, that is, again, separate from what we've seen from most Game of Thrones shows? Let me know your comments down below and make sure to like and subscribe.